Imagine this, the crowd is laughing, the sun beats down on the dusty track, and a young girl, her hands trembling but her eyes burning with quiet fire, sits behind the wheel of a machine built with her father's old, calloused hands. They called her foolish, said she didn't belong there. But in just a few moments, when her engine roared to life, every whisper, every laugh, every doubt, would fade into silence. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon, because stories like this one remind us that courage, not privilege, defines the true winners in life. It all began in a small town on the edge of nowhere, where dreams usually died faster than engines started. Mira was the daughter of Rahim, a local mechanic who ran a rusty old garage by the roadside. They weren't rich, not even close. Her father spent his days fixing engines for others, never owning one good enough for himself. But he had something far more powerful than money: skill, patience, and a belief that machines had souls. From the time Mira could walk, she was beside him, watching him repair carburetors, clutch plates, and exhausts, her small hands covered in grease instead of paint. The townsfolk would laugh and say, "A girl under a car hood? Who'll ever marry her?" But Rahim would smile proudly and reply, "She was born to do more than just sit pretty." Every year, the town hosted a motor race, the Thunder Mile. It was a brutal dirt track competition that brought mechanics, racers, and spectators from neighboring towns. The winner didn't just earn a trophy, they earned respect. Mira had watched that race every year from the sidelines, her heart pounding with envy as engines thundered past. She'd dream of racing, not for fame, but to prove that her father's work and her own spirit were worth something. But every time she hinted at it, people mocked her. "You? A mechanic's daughter? You'll break the car before the first turn," they'd sneer. Even the racers, big men with tattoos, slick helmets, and cocky grins, laughed when she signed up for the race that year. One of them, Salman, the reigning champion, smirked and said, "Careful, sweetheart. This isn't a toy ride." Mira didn't respond. She just walked away, clutching the registration form in her oily hands, her mind replaying her father's words from the night before. "People will doubt you, Beta, until you give them a reason not to." Together, she and her father worked day and night in their dimly lit garage, building her car from discarded parts, pieces no one else wanted. The engine was old, the frame patched, but every screw carried their hopes. Her father's hands bled, and Mira's eyes burned with exhaustion, but neither of them stopped. When others had sponsors and shining cars, all she had was a patched-up miracle and a heart that refused to quit. The night before the race, rain poured down, leaking through the garage roof. Mira sat beside her car, running her fingers over the dented hood. Her father came over, quietly placing a hand on her shoulder. "It's not about winning, Mira," he said softly. "It's about showing them that you belong here as much as anyone else." She nodded, but inside, she knew, she didn't just want to belong. She wanted to prove that her father's belief in her wasn't misplaced. The day of the race arrived with a roar of engines and cheers from the crowd. Mira rolled her car to the starting line. The audience murmured, some curious, most skeptical. The announcer's voice boomed, "And here we have Mira Rahim, daughter of the town's mechanic, joining the Thunder Mile for the first time ever." A few chuckles rippled through the crowd. Salman leaned from his car window, grinning. "Try not to cry when you stall at the start," he taunted. Mira gripped the steering wheel, her jaw tightening. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from the fire inside her chest. The flag dropped. Tires screeched. Dust filled the air. Mira's car sputtered for half a second, and laughter erupted from the stands. But then, her engine let out a deep, powerful growl, one unlike any other. The car surged forward with a roar so sharp it silenced the crowd instantly. She flew past the first bend, the patched-up machine responding like a living creature. Her father's modifications worked flawlessly. She maneuvered the turns with precision, her eyes locked ahead, her pulse steady. Lap after lap, the laughter turned into gasps, and gasps turned into cheers. The mechanic's daughter wasn't just keeping up, she was overtaking them. By the final lap, only Salman remained ahead. His car was faster, newer, stronger, but his pride was his weakness. He underestimated her. On the last turn, Mira spotted her chance. The track curved sharply, and Salman went wide, too confident in his speed. Mira cut inside, engine roaring like thunder, her tires skidding dangerously close to the edge. The crowd held their breath. In that split second, her car burst ahead, crossing the finish line just before his. Silence fell. Dust settled. And then, thunderous applause. Mira stepped out, her clothes dirty, her hair sticking to her face, but her eyes gleamed with tears. Her father ran to her, pride flooding his weathered face. The same crowd that mocked her now stood to their feet, cheering her name. Even Salman, chest heaving, came over and offered his hand. "You earned it," he said quietly, his arrogance gone. Mira smiled faintly. "I didn't just race for me," she said, looking at her father. "I raced for every person told they're not enough." That night, as the trophies gleamed under the floodlights, Mira and her father stood beside their battered car, their creation, their dream made real. Reporters asked her how it felt to prove everyone wrong. She simply replied, "I didn't prove them wrong. I proved us right." And that, right there, was her victory. So, if you've ever been laughed at for dreaming too big, or doubted for coming from too little, remember Mira. Remember that the world may mock you at the start, but once your engine roars, their silence will speak louder than their laughter. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little push to chase their dream. Because one day, their engine will roar too, and when it does, the world will listen.